evening, everybody. Welcome to our town council meeting. Tonight is Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 7 p.m. I will ask that you stand for the pledge, and Councilman Rocco will lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this evening we have some special guests here. We have some of the students from the Plainville schools who are winners of the Memorial Day essay contest. This is a program that occurs every year. Students in the schools are asked to write an essay regarding Memorial Day, what it means to them, and things of that nature. This program is hosted by the our Memorial Day Parade Committee. I'd like to point out Dave Dudek, who's the chair. Dave, you want to come up and say anything or just wave? Dave is the chair of the Memorial Day Parade, as well as our Veterans Commission. So he's here tonight with us.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is we had a bunch of, we had 5 kids that did great job this year. Unfortunately, only 2 are here tonight. They had other commitments and stuff and couldn't make it tonight. So
okay.
I just wanted to let that know. But every one of them did a great job, and they were very much appreciated at the ceremony after the parade this year.
Sure.
So,
Dave, do you have the names of all the students? I have three names, I think, that are going to be here tonight, but I don't have, unfortunately, all the others.
okay.
Do you have that?
Well, I have, from Toflon, I have Emma, right? I have Emma's here.
Emma, okay.
And from the high school, I have Christine.
Christine?
Right. So those are the only, I don't see any others.
Okay.
So those are the 2 that are here.
Oh, all right. Okay. I thought there was a student from Wheeler, but she's not able to be here. Is that right?
They're not here, and I just talked to the mother of Michael Ahern,
Okay.
Scoops for Troops, and he just got in from...
Whoop.
So,
Okay.
thanks, Dan.
All right. So tonight we have Emma from Toflon School and Christine from Plainville High School to read their essays.
Before I sit down, I'd like to also put in a Joan Calistro from the Board of Ed.
Joan Calistro
does a great job.
Yeah.
She's the one that organized this in the beginning and got the schools going and doing it. So I'd like to put out a little shout for her.
Thank you for mentioning that. She does a lot of things, and she does them all very, very well, I know. Thank you for that. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Okay. So first up, I guess we're going to ask Emma from Toflon School. Would you like to come up and read your essay for us, please? And can you just press that center button, please? Thanks, Dave. Oh, you're all set. Great. Thank you.
What Memorial Day means to me. It's nice to honor people that fought or sacrificed in the military. That's why people made Memorial Day. I myself had family members that are veterans. My uncle Chris and John were in the Navy. My cousin Andrew was in the Air Force, but now he is in the Army. And my cousin Matt was in the Army. That's why Memorial Day is so important to me. To many, people believe that Memorial Day is about supporting all of those who have fought and sacrificed for us. But it means so much more than that. Memorial Day is so much more than we think. Yes, it's about supporting those who fought or sacrificed, but it's also about remembering those who have passed. When I think about Memorial Day, I think about all the people who have served in the Army, Air Force, Navy SEALs, Marine Corps, and Coast Guards. A lot of people have had families that have served and also either sacrificed or got injured and got a Purple Heart. 3 years after the Civil War ended on May 5, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, the Grand Army of the Republic, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Originally, Memorial Day was called Decoration Day. It is usually on the last Monday of May. From 1868 to 1970, it was usually on May 30th. It's to honor those who fought in the Civil War. When I think about Memorial Day, I think about remembering all of those who are fighting for our country or those who have sacrificed for our country. It's really hard losing someone when they have gone overseas, in the air, underwater, and on land, but at the same time, they were doing something they wanted to do, save our country.
Thank you, Emma. Very well done. We have a little gift for you. Emma, we have a little something for you if you can, for all your hard work and for coming here tonight as well. It's a pin from the town of Plainville. Thank you again for coming tonight. Okay, thanks, Dave. Next would be Christine Rosario. Christine?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Rosario, and this essay is to honor my grandfather. What does Memorial Day mean to me? My late grandfather, Cayetano Casing Rosario, passed away last July 2019 at the age of 102 years old. I did not know much about him other than he once served in the Philippines Army. Despite knowing him for only a short time, he made a positive impact on my life. His stories taught me patience, honor, courage, and commitment. He served his country for 30 years. He served as a lieutenant in the Philippine Guerrilla Army with the United States Army in World War II. On June 1, 1993, the U.S. Embassy announced any veteran soldier who survived World War II had the chance to live in the United States, to be naturalized as a citizen, and to be known as a U.S. veteran. There were over 260,000 Filipinos who served under the American flag in World War II, and many of them were allowed to move to the U.S. and become citizens. One of them is my late grandfather. He obtains benefits, pensions, and citizenship in the United States in exchange for defending the Philippines from Japanese invasion. My grandfather sacrificed everything to defend our country and to provide opportunities for his children, one of whom is my father. He petitioned 4 out of his 15 children to become a U.S. citizen. One of the 4 children that my grandfather petitioned to become a U.S. citizen is my dad, which in turn gave my family and I a chance to have advanced education, learn the English language, obtain a higher quality of life, and the ability to build wealth and abundance for future generations. I attend Plainville High School and I'm currently in 10th grade. My future goals including graduating from Plainville High School and attending university to study immigration law. I choose this career path because I would also like people to experience opportunities in the United States. Completing this essay has made me think about how my family's past affects my present and my future. Lastly, in memory of those who have died while serving the United States, Memorial Day is celebrated. They are all remembered, regardless of whether they served or died after service. Their lives, time, and effort were the cause of freedom. We should take this opportunity to reflect on sacrifice made by those who serve and their ultimate sacrifice on this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Very, very good. Again, thank you to Dave and your committee for coordinating the event with the students. And there's Dan Hurley. I know, I can see you, Dan. Also, many thanks to the schools who get the word out to the students and the teachers that encourage the children to submit their essays and become a part of this this annual event, which I think is a wonderful experience. It's wonderful to hear from the children that take the time to write their essays and think about what they would like to share. And so I thank you both not only for participating and writing your essays, but to you and your families. Thank you so very much for coming here tonight. We truly appreciate it, and we're honored by you coming here and sharing your thoughts again. So thank you again, all of you, very, very much. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start the rest of our meeting. If you'd like to stay for it, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, we thank you for coming by, Dan. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Okay, that's always wonderful to have the students come and visit with us. But we will move along. We have a few more things we need to take care of tonight. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing. We have a public hearing for 3 different items. Before we open that up to the public, I would ask the town clerk to please read the notice of the public hearings.
Thank you. Notice is hereby given that the Plainville Town Council will hold public hearings at 7 p.m. on Monday, June 19th, 2023, in the Municipal Center to consider items. 1. Proposed ordinance entitled Ordinance Establishing Fourth Quarter Transfers for the Fiscal Year Ending June 30th, 2023. 2. An additional appropriation for the fiscal year 2023 budget. 3. Final draft report of the Charter Revision Commission. Copies of said proposed ordinance and final draft report are available for public inspection in the office of the town clerk, dated at Plainville, Connecticut, the 16th day of June, 2023.
Great, thank you, Cindy. I'm going to ask Michael to give us a brief overview of each one of these items. The first one is fourth quarter transfers for our fiscal year. This is something we do every year at the end of the fiscal year. Then we also have an additional appropriation to close out the year. And finally, we're going to have a public hearing regarding our Charter Revision Commission final draft report. So Michael, if you could give us a little bit of information about each one, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, the first item, ordinance for the fourth quarter transfers, is exactly as you said, something that's done on an annual basis, is in the packet, and is detailed from our finance director. And Mr. Buden is also here this evening to answer any questions you may have on those, but it is a typical transfer that occurs toward the end of the year, every fiscal year. So those items are detailed in your packet. I believe they're available for the public inspection as well. Item number 2 was a placeholder in case the town needed an additional appropriation. I'm happy to report the town does not need an additional appropriation, so there will be no action necessary for that item number 2. And item number 3 is the Charter Revision Commission's final draft report, which is also available and is part of the packet for the council to review, which had been highlighted those changes so that you could find them with respect to the recommendations that are also in the packet and available for public inspection as well.
Okay. All right, so item number 2, there is no action for that, so do we
Right, I would just
have to take comment or not really?
I don't even, unless somebody wants to comment, you don't need to take action, but you can certainly take
Okay.
comment. But I think it's a moot point because we're not making any appropriations.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving through these items, item number 1 is an ordinance entitled Ordinance Establishing Fourth Quarter Transfers for Fiscal Year Ending June 30th, 2023. I'll open up comment. Does anybody wish to speak to the council on item number 1? Does anybody wish to speak on item number 1? Last time? No? Okay, thank you. Item number 2, additional appropriation for fiscal year 2023. As our town manager noted, there will be no additional appropriation for this fiscal year, but if anybody would like to get up and speak about that, now's your chance. Okay, thank you for that. Item number 3, Charter Revision Commission final draft report. Michael, I assume this has been published. Is this out on our website and out on our?
Yes.
That information has been published.
Also
okay.
a hard copy available. A hard copy available also in the clerk's office as well. But it
Okay.
is available electronically for viewing and downloading.
Okay. Just a little background. The Charter Revision Commission has been meeting this past several months regarding a review of our charter. They have come up with a number of recommendations, and the recommendations have been published. So right now, what I would like to do is open it up for anybody that wishes to make comment on the Charter Revision final draft report. Please do so. Does anybody wish to speak to the draft report? Anybody wish to speak to the final draft report of the Charter Revision Commission? Okay,
Madam
we will
Chair,
close that
Madam Chair.
out and close out our public hearing portion of the meeting.
Madam Chair, before closing, I think for the public's viewing pleasure, I just might want to state the memo that was enclosed with the charter to explain the proposed changes that they'll find. And when they go through online or if they pick up a hard copy, additions are underlined and deletions have strike-throughs. But
Okay.
the proposed changes in the town charter, changes that allow for the waiver of the town manager residency requirement, language changes to clarify allowing the assistant town manager to act on behalf of the town manager, language to clarify participation in regional health district, language changes to clarify the all-day budget vote, and language changes to clarify director of finance and town treasurer designee, language changes to clarify gender references. And that is
Okay,
a summary of what the
a summary of what's been changed. All right, great. Okay, that information is available. So the council will be reviewing the recommendations, and there'll be future meetings to discuss that. All right, thank you. All right, item number 3, minutes of the previous meeting. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2023, special and regular meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are any additions or corrections to those minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Announcements and reports. Does anybody have any announcements or reports tonight?
Madam Chair,
Rosemary.
just a quick note, the Juneteenth event in the center of town at Veterans Memorial Park today went very, very well. I think it was well attended, it was well organized, and a lot of positive feedback. And also thank you to the town for the support that they gave it, contributed to its success. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? I just have 2 items. The Senior Center, this Thursday we'll be having a strawberry shortcake festival. I'm sure that's on Andy's list of things to share, but we'll get to that. It's at 3:30 this Thursday at the Senior Center. The Commission on Aging is now on a hiatus for the summer. They will be resuming their work again in September. They always have a lot to take care of, but they will be off for the summer. Last item I'd like to share is I attended the Board of Education 2023 graduation last Monday. It was, as usual, it's always fun to go to them. Families, friends, and the graduates are always in such happy frame of mind, and they're so excited. And the rain really did stop about the time we were walking out onto the field, so that was a very good thing. The graduates proceeded on, and this was, of course, the last Plainville High School graduation for Mr. Carl Johnson, who will be leaving the administrative team, and also the last high school graduation for Superintendent LePage, who will also be leaving Plainville School System. So there were a few bittersweet moments, but it was a wonderful ceremony. And again, the weather did cooperate at last, and finally, so we got through that without too much trouble. So it was a very good event. Okay, if there are no other comments tonight, we'll move on to our appointments and resignations. Item number 1, please.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to reappoint Betsy Godian to the Plainville Southington Health District Board for the term ending June 20th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Thank you. Let's see, item number 2.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Rocco.
motion to acknowledge the town manager's acceptance with regret of Mary Tully's resignation from the Recreation and Park Advisory Board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, do we have any other appointments tonight?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
motion to appoint Greg Nolan, 14 Linda Drive, as a probationary firefighter to the Plainville Fire Department.
Second.
And also to appoint Dana Gronowski as a regular firefighter to the Plainville Fire Department.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those?
Madam Chair, just
Yes, sir.
a procedural. I think technically we should add this to the agenda first and then vote on it, but I
well,
don't want to cause a
We
problem.
could. I mean, under item number 3, it says appointments and reappointments to boards and commissions is there, so I just had Mr. Underwood read them under that section.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other appointments or reappointments tonight? Okay, thank you for taking care of that.
Got to vote on it.
We
have
still
to
have to vote.
You have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item number 6, Board of Education. Do you have a Board of Education report tonight? Okay.
Lori Consalvo, 5 World Court. This is for the Monday, June 5th, our last Board of Education meeting. And we started with a special presentation for our PCS All-Stars. We honored Mario Perez, Plainville High School art teacher. Also recognition of student liaisons, PHS senior Isabella Grasso. Also PHS CAS Outstanding Art Awards went to NLA St. Lawrence and Paige Stillwell for visual arts. We also congratulated our Teacher of the Year, Michaela Wells, Plainville High School math teacher. The 5 winners at each schools included Laura Reed, art teacher at Wheeler, Michael Bonsamino, band teacher at Linden School, Courtney Caldwell, 2nd grade teacher at Toflon, Laura Meehan, art teacher at the Middle School of Plainville, and Michaela Wells, math teacher at Plainville High School. Miss Wells is not only the high school's Teacher of the Year, but that of the district as well. And then we had the student rep report, basically just letting us know about end of school activities, preparing for graduation, which was very successful. And we also had a superintendent's report. Mr. LePage stated that the district's strategic plan will last for the next 3 years and gave handouts to the of the plan to each board member. He gave us a list of completed core goal areas: equity, social emotional learning, mastery, community connection goals, and system operations. He also explained that this document explains the focus of the district around central topics, actionable objectives, and putting those action objections in place. He stated that he is very proud of the work being done across the district and hopes the board is equally as proud, as they were the supportive of the work and involved in all of the sessions. He stated that the next update will come out in the fall. Teflon playground equipment. Mr. LePage stated that when Teflon School was renovated like new back in 2008, 2009, Plainville didn't offer the universal pre-K to the community. The current early childhood playscape structure was placed based on the fact that Teflon didn't have any pre-K students in the building at that time. So at this point in time, the district's pre-K program was housed at Linden. We now have an average of 45 to 60 preschoolers in our full-day pre-K program at Teflon, with very limited space to play. NIAC accreditation requires that all of our preschools have a chance to play outside each day and follow the same schedule. Our current structure makes it difficult for all children to play together in the same area. This is due to space and lack of equipment. Our proposed equipment would give children more opportunity to grow both their gross and fine motor skills, as well as provide choice and equity in line with the other playgrounds at Linden and Wheeler. Wheeler and Linden have recently improved grade 2 through 5 playscapes, and Teflon is certainly less equitable. Moving on, cafeteria prices will increase. The proposal assumes that meals for all provided through the pandemic will come to an end this June and will return to the prior structure of income-based meal pricing. That pricing includes 3 tiers: free, reduced, and paid. These prices are proposed for paid meals, and the other tiers are set by the state. We do say that we regretfully propose this increase because it will undoubtedly impact participation, which now has risen to new heights. We currently have many days when the majority of the students in the district are fed great tasting and nutritional meals. With that has come a very positive change where many old stigmas related to who eats meals have come to an end. A chart of the proposed prices and a comparison to other survey districts is provided also in the minutes. And we also have approved an armed district safety officer. Mr. LePage stated that he had received some concerns from elementary parents who have shared their security concerns with Mr. LePage, particularly Wheeler parents. He stated that there is an SRO officer at Plainville High and the middle school. There's also an armed security office at the middle school, as well as 2.5 regular security guards at the high school. The proposal from Rich Marks, the district director of security, is to not fill the .6 position at the high school, but instead fill a position of an armed security officer and have that officer alternate between Wheeler and Linden. The armed security officer and SRO at the middle school would be shared with Taflawn School due to the close proximities of the buildings. Mr. LePage recommended a concealed armed security officer at the elementary school. This new position is there to support the entire district, but would also be there to oversee the elementary schools. And the finance and subcommittee report, the subcommittee also discussed a proposal for the revisions of the Taflawn Play Escape, which is a project that the subcommittee should move forward. The project is not to exceed $95,000. I'm sorry, one more thing I just wanted to add. We also made, a motion was made to Plainville Community Schools, per the wishes of Dr. Gerald Bello, to Section 10. Why can't I find it? I'm sorry. She probably didn't put it on here because she didn't finish all the minutes. But Mr. Bello is offering a large amount of money to the Plainville schools as wished upon his, if he should decease. He's proposing to spend the money with Plainville schools, and how it's being distributed. He had us follow some type of format for when he passes, and we did make a motion on it and approve it. So that was the last thing that I wanted to. But Joan didn't do the whole thing, so I'm just having a hard time finding it. And that's about it.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thanks for the year-end wrap-up. We appreciate it. Okay. Moving on, the report of the town attorney. Good. Okay, thank you for joining us. Report of the town manager, Michael?
Yes, good evening. I have 7 items plus the dashboard and happenings. And the first item is Paderewski Park Pond discussion. And I also want to let the council know that Mark DeVoe is here as well, should there be any questions, but that the recommendations have come forward, and this is merely an opportunity to begin that discussion, not having the pressure to make any decision this evening. It's just more of information gathering and trying to present to you some information that's come from both the Conservation Commission and the Park and Rec Advisory Commission in terms of their recommendation regarding Paderewski Park. And so I just wanted to go through my notes here for that item, which there's a bit of backup information available for you in the packet, but essentially on December 15th, 2022, the Conservation Commission made recommendations to the Plainville Park and Recreation Advisory Board regarding the management access to Paderewski Park Pond. There were 5 recommendations listed for consideration, which limited the fishing season, setting new hours for fishing, prohibiting ice fishing, prohibiting boats, and eliminating the boat launch and closing the parking spot. And although the Park and Rec Advisory Board agree in part to these recommendations, it's up to the town council to approve the proposed changes. And I didn't want to kind of spring this on you, and wanted to give you time to deliberate and to, consider all of the different requests and changes before you took any action. But just to bring to your point, the elimination of the ice fishing and boating are in conflict with the town ordinances that permit these 2 activities. So if the council should agree with the recommendations, then I would suggest you'd have to take up at your next meeting, you'd have to start with the amending the process if you were going to look at those 2 items in particular, although there are other items here. But I think you want to go through and thoroughly consider. My own, opinion, I disagree. I understand the hard work that the committee is doing to preserve and protect the community. I see it a different light. I see the pond as an asset for the community, and I think it's an attraction. I think you want to enhance it if you can, and attract people, residents, to use it more, not less. And I think, closing the boating, launch or boating ramp and closing it down and trying to restrict fishing and ice fishing. I know ice skating is prohibited, but ice fishing is allowed. And I just think it's a nice little gem, an asset, and I think there's opportunity for the town to work with different community groups to adopt the park, if you will, adopt the pond, to do cleanups. There was one last fall. I think there's a possibility to seek, planning grants and funding for sign improvements. And I know that there was one note about the island and the sanctuary, and I believe signs that are missing. We certainly look at recreating those signs and putting them back up to preserve the sanctuary, or if that's in fact what it's designated. So I think there's ways in which we could accommodate some of the changes, but also really enhance the pond as well. Just my thoughts. And so I guess we'll get into question. I'll go through the rest of the items and circle back unless the council would like to do that now. But I think I can get through, and then we can come back to those items, because I also have probably likely some conversations around the middle school update as well, and maybe even White Oak update as well. So I'll try to get through these, and then we can circle back. Item number 2, White Oak redevelopment project update. The town closed on the White Oak property on Monday, June 12th, and executed DECD financial assistance agreement documents, which have been sent to the proper state representatives for execution. The town and Tigan Bond completed a site walkthrough on Wednesday, June 14th, and there has been no spread of contamination from the leaking water that would require revisions to the hazardous building material abatement scope of work. And the DECD has also attended Wednesday's walkthrough, and in conversations with the town and Tigan Bond, they reaffirmed the ability to pursue topper grants, and a topper grant is basically any additional funding on top of the original remediation grant that would be required. Asking that the requested additional funds come in a single request so that we don't do this and keep coming back multiple times. They just want us to go through the process, identify everything that needs to be done, and if there's a need for additional requests, make a single request. And so we're working on that, getting quotes, and ensure that we cover all actions through the end of remediation. The town and Tigan Bond have received DECD comments on the draft abatement plan, RFP, and incorporated them into the documents. The goal is to have the final DECD approval and be in place to publish by the end of next week. So the RFP is the next step, and we would like to keep that on track and get that done and get that out on the street so that firms can respond to that and we can get that scheduled. Krazers, Jones, and Associates were on site this Monday and Tuesday to begin the A2 topo survey. They'll return next Tuesday and Wednesday to complete the results, and will be shared with Tigan Bond and Manafort Newport Realty to allow for master site plan and building elevation drafting to begin. So that's another important milestone to get the topo survey done with respect to the actual development, which will come after the remediation. So all of these processes are lining up, and we are making progress. On the middle school update, the town and the Board of Education staff, which basically was myself, Andy, Rob, Steve, LePage, David Levengeski, and Sam have met with Kate Jessup of Castle Booze Associates, and we also met with Mike Zuma of SLAM in order to talk with them about potential proposals and seeking out information with respect to these demographics and the enrollment projections and utilization of buildings with respect to the school systems. I'd also had a conversation with another principal at QA&M, Rusty Malik, and another firm that's well known and does a lot of work with Connecticut schools, Connecticut towns, and I think he can help in some degree, but I don't think we'll have a proposal, because when I talked to Rusty, it sounded like their firm isn't doing it in-house, that they would be farming it out to professionals that they would hire to do that. And the name that kept coming back was Mike Zumba from SLAM. And so I think that kind of solidified. We had already been leaning in the direction of SLAM, but I did want to look at potentially a third option. But that third option just came back to the option for SLAM that I think is the most, I say comprehensive, but probably hits the nail on the head for what I think we're looking for here in Plainville on our information gathering purposes. So I can still continue to engage QA&M for their help and assistance, and certainly they offered to provide whatever help they can. And we also had a discussion on the scope and timing of the study. I think if there are no objections, I'd like to move forward just in the interest of time that we're getting into the summer schedule to engage Mr. Zumba and SLAM, and then try to create a special meeting even as early as next week if possible, just to have a open and transparent meeting with him before embarking on anything significant, just to kind of get everyone on the same page to explain what would be involved in this demographic slash enrollment projection and building utilization. So I hope that we can have a conversation around that, and hope that the schedules permit. But I'd just like to see some movement on this and get this project moving as we had talked about in terms of gathering information. So That's under the school. Number 4 is the tax fixing agreement, and this is an item you'll see under new business. But just to recap, at their February 20th, 2020 meeting, the Plainville Economic Development Agency recommended the Town Council approve a tax abatement for Americold. The initial abatement offering a 50% abatement for a period of 10 years. After further negotiation, the full abatement, as detailed in an MOU, was executed by former Town Manager Robert Lee on August 10th, 2021. Conditions of the MOU included construction and improvements consisting of 229,000 square feet and an estimated cost of $10,480,000, but in no event less than 85% thereof. Americold agreeing to make good faith efforts to hire a minimum of 30 Plainville residents. The real estate and personal property taxes shall be capped at $850,000 for a period of 10 years unless Americold secures additional personal property or completes additional expansion of the building from the original design. In no event will the real estate and personal property taxes be less than $850,000 during the fixed tax period. The certificate of occupancy, the CO, was issued by the building department on March 30th, 2023. Invoices have been reviewed to ensure that the minimum improvement costs have been met and that the attached tax filing agreement has been reviewed and approved by Attorney Mastriani's office. And there's, of course, as I mentioned, an item under new business regarding the approval of this agreement. Item 5 is the vehicle purchase, building and grounds, for building and grounds. In the fiscal year 2024 capital improvement plan, the CIP, the town approved $55,000 for the purchase of a new four-wheel drive pickup truck with a plow for the Buildings and Grounds Department. The Building and Grounds Department received a quote from Gingras Ford LLC for a total of $45,961.10 for a vehicle that is in stock, a Ford 2022 model year F-250 regular cab 4x4 with the specifications as required by the town. Purchasing the quoted vehicle from Gingras would save the town a budgeted $9,038.90 over what we had in the budget. And there's an item under new business regarding the award of bid number 2403, Building and Grounds Vehicle to Gingras LLC of Plainville under the state contract number and the amount of $45,961.10. So that's an item under new business. And then again, that is off of state contract. Number 6 is the line striping pavement markings. The Department of Technical Service has been working to revamp the line striping and pavement marking program, and the recommendation is to use an epoxy material which is more durable and long-lasting. The department is requesting the purchase of services related to painting double 4-inch yellow center lines, 4-inch white lane dividers, 12-inch white stop bars, and 16-inch white bar crosswalks. So essentially, most of all of the pavement markings you see on town roads. Funds will come from the Town Aid Road account with a cap not to exceed $40,000. So there's an item under new business regarding the award bid number 2024-04 pavement markings to Safety Markings LLC of Bridgeport, Connecticut under the CROG bid number 743 in the amount not to exceed $40,000. And tentative agreement, the town and police union have reached a tentative agreement for a 3-year contract. And there was an executive session to discuss that, and that item is on the agenda later on for approval. And now I will head into dashboard, or maybe before dashboards and happenings, which is somewhat separate from these other 7 items. If we want to come back to any questions related to the pond, White Oak, or the middle school update, I'd be happy to discuss anything there.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I agree with the comments that you made regarding Paderewski Park. I'm really concerned that anyone would want to do away with a lot of the great activities that we've had there, and I really think the park is for the people, and I think it should stay that way. So that's how I feel about it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Rosemary.
On Paderewski, I was just wondering if we, at our next meeting, could have a discussion. And I know that I have a number of questions that I'd like to ask. I'd like to actually take a ride down there a couple of times, too.
Sure.
And look at the park. And maybe think of some alternative strategies, too, for accomplishing the same goals. I know Town Manager Paulus mentioned signage on the island, for example. But give us time to think of those things and have a discussion perhaps at the next meeting, and then make a decision maybe at the meeting following that, so we can, thoughtfully consider this. I have to say, the one item, though, that I didn't really have any questions on was the ice fishing. If there's kind of no ice skating, maybe there should be no ice fishing as well. That seemed to be sort of just a separate, maybe a little simpler item. But the other ones, I know I'd like time to think of some questions, think of some other possible strategies, and take a look at the park.
Right. And we have an ordinance that addresses some of those items that I need to take a look at in further detail. We did get a lot of information about that just recently, so I agree. I think the timing of having it at another meeting is fine. Everybody's good with that. We can talk about it again after we have a chance to look at everything, and we have some questions that develop during that time. We can go forward with them too.
Right, and perhaps we could even think of, giving questions to Town Manager Paulus in advance too, so that he could be ready, and to consult with the people that he would need to consult with to answer them.
Is everybody good with setting some separate time to discuss Paderewski in the future? Next meeting, perhaps, July?
Yeah, I'll make a note.
Absolutely.
Any other comments for the town manager with his report, or any of the items that he spoke about?
Madam Chair?
Rosemary?
Also, on the other item I wanted to just say a few words on is the middle school update. My questions would be, we're using the expression "we." Are we talking about town council and the Board of Ed? Obviously, the Board of Ed is the body that's going to have the decision-making authority on where we go with this. And I would just like, if we're going to meet next week, for example, I would hope that it's a joint meeting with the town council and the Board of Ed.
We can do that. As I read through the document that the town manager provided us from SLAM, it mentioned that they would be engaging with the Board of Education during the process.
Right, yes, they would be working
but
with
yes,
them,
yes, of course, the council and the board can certainly have a conversation about it as well once we get some of that information. So I'm glad you brought that up. Regarding the vendor, SLAM, you've already selected them, is that right? You're not looking for us to approve anything?
Yeah, well, I think administratively, internally in the discussions with the Board of Ed, superintendent, assistant superintendent, and business manager, that seems most likely. And again, I'm just looking, if there are no objections, to proceed with that, and then bring them before they get any work done, to have that initial kickoff with a joint meeting of the council and the Board of Education, and make sure that we understand what we're talking about with respect to the study and deliverables and the time frame in terms of the schedule. And I think it's reasonable in terms of the price quoted. There are funds within the middle school fund, so we can certainly handle that. And I think I was trying to move expeditiously as we can, given the summer schedule, to try and get something on the calendar so that we can move forward and try to get that SLAM to be able to do something hopefully within a 6-week time frame, potentially, to turn around, maybe longer, but sometime in the end of July, August, to get that done.
So in reading the copy of the letter from them that you provided us, it sounds like predominantly they're going to be looking at enrollment. Is that what their charge is, to look at enrollment?
I think of it as a layer. Enrollment is part of, way I understand it, and again, it's a learning experience for me as well, that enrollment is part of a larger demographics study, if you will, in addition to building utilization. So I think all come into play to understand what those numbers are going to be and what school facilities and buildings can accommodate whatever those numbers are. So I think they have to understand what we have with respect to elementary, middle school, high school kind of projections.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Rosemary.
You know, I did read their response, and it did seem to be directed really toward enrollment.
Right.
You know, and I see Sam here, and he might be able to help clarify as well. I don't think it was looking at anything programmatically or curriculum-wise or anything like that in terms of combining, you know, closing the middle school, for example. And I realize we're probably looking at a broader scope here of looking at enrollment overall, too. But just a little more clarification on exactly what they would be looking at would be helpful. Okay.
I think perhaps Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I could respond, but I think Assistant Manager Andy has gone through the draft and has the changes that maybe he's best talking to.
Sure, I'd be happy to provide some clarification, and Sam, you're welcome to add in some additional comment as well. So we took a look at the proposal that was shared with the town council, and this was just kind of their first proposal to us. We have some additional comments that we'd like to provide back to SLAM, one of which the town manager discussed, which was doing the joint town council board of ed sessions and have them be at the beginning and at the end of the process so that we can talk about, you know, goals and ideas of what the outcome should be of their study. And another emphasis, too, is of the utilization component. This, you know, really shouldn't just be an enrollment study. It sounds like from our conversations previously that we want to incorporate a larger kind of demographic and school utilization component. So that's something that we had made comments on in the proposal that we'd like to share with SLAM so that it's not just focused on enrollment. That's kind of just a small section of what we want them to review. We do want them to look at some additional items as well.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I don't know, Sam, if there's anything else you might have wanted to add to that as well.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I think those are, you just
Yeah, I
have to
believe
turn them
they're
on,
plugged in.
please. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, the only, so that was a really nice summary. The only thing I would add is the output in the deliverable of the study is not the utilization component nor the joint meetings. It's narrowing in on options that we would then task them with coming to consensus on moving forward. So they would look at whatever options might be viable and practical, given the inputs of the utilization and the inputs of enrollment.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, that's a good addition. So the goal is, obviously, we're going to get a product after this. It's going to be a utilization study, demographic study. But our goal is, through the joint sessions of the Town Council and the Board of Education, is to come up with some consensus as what is the next best step, right, after this. Hopefully, we'll have the information that was requested, and that would be insightful as to, you know, what our abilities are and what our capacities are, so that the next step would be, you know, a more clearer decision. And hopefully a consensus is found amongst the two bodies throughout this process as well.
I would just like to add that we felt confident having talked with this professional, with Mike Zuba. He's worked in many, many districts for many years. Just talking to him I talked to him for about an hour, and then we met again. He knows us. He knows our surrounding districts. Almost every scenario we talked to him about, he was able to react to with experience. So I feel like this is a good step forward.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Just
go ahead.
a couple questions. So a decision's been made to move forward with a study.
Yeah, well, it is my mind in terms of administratively, unless there's an objection from the council that I've got this wrong.
Well, I'd like to object.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it means nothing that I'm one of two, potentially maybe three, but the other question is, it sounds like the board, this would be something paid for by the board?
Well, I think it would be paid by the.
Or you said something at the beginning about there was
Yeah.
funds.
Yeah, there was a fund that the council or town created, when you embarked upon the
And it would be taken out of that.
taken out of
that-
that, what's already
okay.
been established as a fund for that.
Okay.
For the middle school project.
Okay.
If I can ask Mr. Wazorko, your objection is for what reason? Not having, you object to having the study done under any circumstances, is that right?
Well,
Do I understand that?
I just think, I feel like every meeting we talk about this, we kind of are pivoting to a different direction. And I just don't feel that, now we're talking about enrollment projections, which I imagine the board does enrollment projections on some basis. I don't know if it's required by the state, but, so what are we going to get in addition to what we already have? Is it?
I can't, yeah, I'll let Sam go. I don't know if they have enrollment.
That deliverable would be a requirement of the project in order to put if we were to go forward with a renovate like new, let's just say, this would be something that would be required.
Automatically.
So it checks that box.
Okay.
The board discussed this project and this path in their meeting on June 5th.
Okay.
And they just wanted to emphasize that they want a sense of urgency. They want us to move forward as quickly as possible, and they want to be involved. And they talked about doing something during the summer. So I think this would check the boxes of the board, where the board feels is a good step, given what they understand the council needs and wants to be able to move forward and where we are.
Now, this meeting that we're trying to get together, would we kind of define the scope of whatever study this would be? Is that what this first meeting would be for?
I think it's an understanding and tweaking if necessary, but I think the elements have pretty much been laid out. It's not wide open. It's pretty narrowly focused. But I think
When I read it, I agree with with what Councilwoman Moranti said. It seems like it's very enrollment focused, and there really isn't, to me, much gray area that says we're looking at other areas. I could be wrong. It certainly wouldn't be the first time, but yes.
Go ahead, Sam.
The document you reviewed doesn't fully capture everything that was discussed. And so Andy marked it up and made a number of changes.
Okay.
I'm not sure that, I would agree with you. Reading that document
Yes.
doesn't say what we really want.
Yeah.
Andy's marked up version, I believe, does. And that's what we would move forward with. And the deliverable, again, would not be a study. It would really be understanding us, looking at our enrollment, looking at our school utilization, what options are available, what reconfiguration options
Okay.
might be practical, and do that on a high level. Don't do that with a design team or anything like that, and come back in 6 weeks. We threw out the date of July 24th, and the consultant said, yeah, that could be doable.
Okay.
So we wanted to move forward as expeditiously as possible. The first meeting is really to get everybody on the same page, working toward consensus, no surprises, here's the path, here's what we're doing, allow you to meet this consultant and feel good about the path, and not just you, but the board, do it together, so heads are nodding, and then come back 6 weeks later with the result of what he tells you up front. That first meeting could be a virtual meeting, and it
Okay.
could be a short meeting.
And the utilization, if we're talking, are we going to define, we talked about option, I forgot if it was A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3 that we were talking about in previous meetings. Is that a framework we would give whoever, if it's SLAM doing the study? Is that a basis for a framework about what we want studied, or is that something we still have to kind of define?
I think so. I think there are limited options, right? I think we've all laid out the only three that we're looking at, and what do the numbers tell us? What does the school, the physical capacities of the schools tell us, right? Can you do X, Y, and Z, and try, within the footprint? What would you have to do if you did, if you wanted to change the configuration, and what would that be? Yeah. So.
All right, I just, because that's, before we obviously approve, and I don't know if there needs to be a formal approval of a study if we're using funds from an already existing account, but, I think, there's a difference between telling them study option A, B, and C, get the information, that you need and tell us which option is best, or, but again, but a generic study that's just gonna tell us what our best option going forward is, I don't feel like that's defined in what we've read so far. And it sounds like there's gonna be an update that we'll get that will probably have more information, maybe a larger scope to what we're actually looking at. So and I'll wait till we get that and certainly read it. And if I have any questions, I'll get back, but thank you.
You're welcome. So should we, in fact, add an agenda item for the town manager in conjunction with representatives from the Board of Education to go forward and engage a, concern to do this study for us? Councilman Wazarko is of the feeling that this hasn't happened in that manner, and he's probably right. We've had a lot of conversations about it and a lot of different back and forth, but in order to solidify what we're going to do, I think we should probably add an agenda item to authorize the town manager, along with representatives from the Board of Education and the administration, to go forward and engage a consultant to proceed with the study.
Yeah, I think that would be in order. I don't think that hurts at all.
Okay. All right, so we're going to add that on tonight, because I think we can't let it languish. We're going to have another month until we meet again in July. So I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, at this point, to add on to our new business item. It would be item probably number 6, and tax refunds is going to go to 7. An agenda item authorizing the town manager. Is the town going to do this, or the Board of Ed, or is it, who's going to be in?
The town.
The lead, the town
will do it.
To authorize the town manager to go forward to engage a consultant to provide a study of schools, including enrollment projections, programming, and anything that would be appropriate to include in the study. Does that make sense? Okay, I got a motion, I got a second.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
That's to add it to the agenda, and then we'll get to that item, and then we will vote on that. And that will be item number 6, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood?
I have a question for Sam. Sam, when was the last study done, if you don't mind me asking? And did you not just say tonight that the study is needed to go forward with renovators new?
An enrollment study, an updated enrollment study would be needed. The last one was done for the Wheeler project. I want to say 2017 or 18. And so we would have to update that if we were to do a renovation project.
Thank you.
That's part of this. And this would give us a little bit more that will help us evaluate options.
And it would move forward, the renovation is new if we did this now and not wait until 3 months or 4 months from now to come up with a decision. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay. We're on the financial dashboard,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yes, that's where we
It
are.
seems so long ago. We were
Item-
getting there, but now we're there. So,
Yes,
Michael, go ahead.
Item 8 is the financial dashboard, and happy to report that the trends continue, and I don't want to jinx us in any way. We've got a few weeks left in the fiscal year. I'm optimistic that we're going to remain strong, right? So I guess I'll just hit the highlights. I don't necessarily think that there's that I have to go and read through every detail unless the council would like that. You have a copy in your packet, but as we stand. The total town budget of $66,665,220 through May 31st, we've expended $55,737,948. Excuse me. So that's an 83.66% expenditure, and that is under the 2-year average of 86.82. It breaks down on the general government budget of $25,356,423. That through May 31st, we've spent $21,773,624. And so that's expenditure percentage-wise is 85%, 85.87%. The two-year average is 89.41%. So we're running under. And the Board of Education side, 41,308,797 as of May 31st. 34,324. So they're 82.31% percentage expended. The two-year average is 85. So again, those trends are running under, which is great. As you take a look at the police overtime, very helpful as we close out the year end and make transfers. That was well under the 550,000 budgeted. That the expenditure through May 31st is 378,473. So there's still a balance of 171,527. So again, good there. Good and a little left in roadways as well, in terms of a budget of 76,895, and through May 31st, 70,845. Building and grounds budget of 25,625. Expenditures through May 31st of 20,195. So we're picking up some changes in all of the overtime budgets for police, for roadways, for building and grounds. The roadways, snow, and building grounds snow budget we closed out, basically, earlier in the spring. So those numbers hold well to help the bottom line. We're holding well and doing fine on the hauling for municipal solid waste. The only problem we have is in the recycling side in terms of the tipping fees that we're running over on that. So we're overexpended on that by about 38,000. But given the totality of the entire budget, something that's manageable. With respect to revenues, we have a total revenue projection of 65,685,220, and through May 31st we have 64,548,467, and so we have a large grant that came in June 1st that was not projected in this May 31st revenue deadline. So we have additional fundings coming in toward the year end, and that will happen as educational funding comes in. And we're running over on the tax side, but those will probably balance out when Rob audits and goes through those tax sides. So we're running right on par with where we should be. Taxes will be right about 99% in terms of percentage received. Even though we're showing 100 at this point, there will probably be some adjustments there. Our fund balance, as I reported, is unchanged. Those numbers are there as reported. And in our special funds, we're doing just fine. All of those are tracking. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions there. Obviously, in the rec side, as I may have mentioned before, the pool's open, the summer camps are going, so June is going to catch up with the rest of the budget expenditures there. You'll see a big spike when we finish on that level from expenditure side. And on the revenue side, a lot of the payments have been coming through in credit card payments. So it's pretty instant, it's fast, and it's there. So that's why you see a lot of revenue coming in well above what we had budgeted for revenues, and conservatively, and we're over that, which is a good thing, a good note. The rest of them, the airport is waiting for grants and reimbursements, so it's a little bit skewed in terms of expenditures to revenues there. And water pollution facility is fine, library is fine, pretty much unchanged for both of them. I will say the library, as you might see, that a little bit under the two-year average of revenues, and that's, I think, underperformance in the investment side of the library fund. And then capital major projects, not much to report there. No changes hardly at all there with respect to the road bond fund, Wheeler project, trying to finish up reimbursement with the state. The turf fund, I don't really hear much about. and there really hasn't been any movement there. ARPA, you are aware of, that we're moving through those items, and the town line construction is also completed, and we're looking to get those programming funds, the project balance of 80,000 reprogrammed through COG, and we're hoping that this summer we might get some information on that. That would be nice, and we could reprogram and do other things. So that's about as quick as I can get through it, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay,
But we're looking good.
excellent. Thank you.
And with that, I will hand it over to Andy for happenings, which you've all been waiting for, I know.
Yes, thank you for your immense patience. Starting off with bulk pickup from Public Works. The spring bulk pickup is scheduled to end on Monday, June 26th. That's next Monday. So if you're interested in having bulk pickup for this season, you must schedule that by the end of this week on Friday by calling CWPM. The next bulk pickup collection will be in the fall, and we'll have more information on that later this summer and into September. If you have any questions about what is eligible for bulk pickup, or if you are an eligible resident, you can go to the Town of Plainville website for a complete list of bulk items and instructions on how to submit a request. Dog license reminder from the town clerk's office. The town's clerk is reminding dog owners that all dogs over 6 months old must be licensed by June 30th, 2020, for the 2023-2024 year. For more information, you can call the town clerk's office at 860-793-0221, extension 7153. Property tax bills from the Tax and Revenue Collection Office. The next property tax bill should be received by residents the first week of July. If residents do not receive a bill, they should contact the Tax/Revenue Collection Office, and those bills would be due by the end of the month of July. The Summer Concert Series from Recreation. The 2023 Plainville Recreation Summer Concert Series kicks off this Thursday, June 22nd at 6:30 p.m. There will be 6 concerts throughout the summer, all taking place at Norton Park, and the event is free to attend. And for more information, you can follow the Town of Plainville on Facebook or in Instagram, or you can call the Recreation Department at 860-747-6022. From the Historical Society, they'll be hosting a Visit the Old East Street Burying Ground on Tuesday, June 27th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is open to all members of the public, and visitors will receive a map of the individual grave sites and a booklet with the names and information about persons that are buried there. It's a historic cemetery that was built in the 1700s. There will be guided tours or self-guided tours, whatever you prefer, and it's hosted by the members of the Historical Society. The Central Connecticut Chamber of Commerce has a few events coming up, and for any information on these events, you can visit www.centralctchambers.org. The first is the State of the Cities and Towns Addresses. This is on Thursday, June 27th from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can join municipal leaders from the surrounding areas, including Town Manager Paulus, for a special breakfast meeting to learn about what local communities are doing and what is in store for the remainder of the year. Plainville Info Night, which is exclusive for Plainville businesses. This is on Thursday, July 13th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Pagliacci's Restaurant at 333 East Street. You can meet and create relationships with business professionals and members of the Chamber of Commerce, learn about the benefits of being a Chamber member, and you can share your ideas on how you'd like to see the Chamber enhance business services for the town of Plainville. Refreshments will be provided, and the event is free to attend. The Chamber's 32nd annual golf tournament is on Monday, August 7th at Tunxus Country Golf Club. Registration is available, and you can do that online at the website that I had mentioned earlier. From the Plainville Public Library, and for any information on library programs, including registration, you can call the public library at 860-793-1446 or visit www.plainvillec.ct.com/library. The first is the Summer Library Adventures 2023 Summer Reading Program. This began today, and it is open for all children and teens. And the program includes crafts, cooking, and science experiments. And you can visit the library to pick up a brochure or go online for more information. Drop-in picture books and popsicles is an event beginning on Friday, June 23rd at 9:30 a.m., and it will reoccur every Friday throughout the summer. And you can stop by the library for a story and a popsicle. It's open to children of all ages, and there's no need to register. Discover the World of Honeybees on Saturday, June 24th at 2 p.m. It is open to youths in grades 1 through 8, and a professional beekeeper will be in-house to discuss the lives of bees. There will not be any bees in attendance, but you will learn a lot about bees. And finally, from the Senior Center, for all information on Senior Center programs, you can call the Plainville Senior Center at 860-747-5728, and all programs are free and open to the public unless otherwise indicated. Veteran Social Hour on Tuesday, June 27th at 10 a.m. This is conducted by Sherry Vo, the Veterans Liaison for Hartford Healthcare Senior Services, and all veterans over the age of 60 and their spouses are encouraged to attend. Memory screening on Tuesday, June 27th from 10 a.m. to noon. This is by appointment only. A 10-minute memory screening from the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. This is not a diagnosis or of any particular illness, but the results are still confidential, and it is helpful to kind of go through a screening, and it is conducted by the Memory Care Advisor at Arden Courts. The Senior Center and Lion Club Summer Picnic. This is only available to members of the Senior Center. It's on Thursday, June 29th at 11:30 a.m. The cost is $6 per person, and individuals must register by June 23rd. It's an indoor summer picnic at the Senior Center, co-sponsored by the Lion Club, and the Lion Club members will be supplying hot dogs and hamburgers for grilling. There's a picnic menu with all the fixins that you'd usually have at a picnic. Water aerobics classes. There are 2 sessions being offered this summer. Session 1 is on Mondays, July 3rd to July 24th from 9 a.m. to 9:45. And the second session also on Mondays from July 31st to August 21st from 9 a.m. to 9:45. Both sessions will be at Norton Park, and they are 4 weeks long and they cost $30. And the fee includes the instruction and a pool noodle, and each session is limited to 10. So if you're interested in registering, definitely try to reach out soon. Caregiving Connections on Tuesday, July 11th at 10 a.m. Connect with other caregivers at the Senior Center to support one another on our journeys and to recognize the challenge and frustrations of providing 24/7 care. And Help for Veterans on Tuesday, July 18th at 10 a.m. This is again by appointment only. You can call Jason Coppola, the Veterans Senior Officer, at 203-805-6340 to find out your status, if you need any help with paperwork or to prepare anything for face-to-face appointments. You can do that here at the Senior Center. So that is all I have to share with you tonight.
Okay. Thank you both for your reports. Does anybody have any questions or comments for either the town manager or for Andy with their report tonight? Okay, good job. Thank you both very much. Okay, moving on to our public comment section of the meeting. During this time, we welcome the public to come to the podium. We ask that you please state your name and address. You will be given 3 minutes to speak to the council. Does anybody wish to speak? Yes.
Lisa Lozier, 17 Grand Avenue, also 23 years on the Conservation Commission. This was removed from Paderewski Pond from mid-April through mid-November of 2022. For some reason, the pond has never been maintained by the town. I've been doing this since 1987. I've also been removing the litter too. Last year and this year, I've chosen not to pick up the litter, but have focused on improperly discarded fishing gear. I usually throw it away, but this year last year I decided I was going to save it. And I truly was not prepared for how much I was actually going to collect. I'm on track to fill a box like this again this year if things continue as they are. My goal is to maintain a safe environment for the wildlife that live and migrate through that area. And because of this, I've had to rescue up to 300 animals. The smallest was a frog, the largest has been a mute swan. Last year, I had to rescue a female mallard that was tangled in fishing line. She had 3 babies. I was able to rescue or remove the fishing line so she could be reunited with her young. The bird before that was a crow hanging by a wing that was tangled in fishing line. I had to climb the tree to free the bird, and thankfully the bird's wing was not broken. It was able to fly off. May 30th, 2 weeks ago, I had to rescue a Canada goose. Legs tangled in fishing line. She was trailing something behind her, and it turned out to be her foot that had been severed off because fishing line cuts right through the bone. She had line tangled around her other leg as well, and it was in the process of killing the foot. I was able to get the line off of her and re-released her. They can survive with one peg leg, and hopefully she's going to be all right. She had her wings still, so she could still fly. So there's no way to routinely take care of the island, and it really needs to be done. The boats that are on the pond pull right up to the shoreline and cast towards the shoreline, resulting in line in the trees. There's line in the trees now, and I just removed 2 pieces this morning that I could reach. The parking lot or the boat launch area is also in a residential area with cars coming and going at all hours. Many are not respectful to being in a residential area, and it's become a dumping ground, a party spot, a drug spot. In fact, hypodermic needle that was found on June 5th over by Wheeler School, which I believe is a drug-free zone. And now I got to find where I am. That mean I'm done?
Well, I can give you a few more seconds if you're almost done. Your 3 minutes has expired. If you want to, just give us, you can wrap up if you would.
Okay. Let me see. The island, boat launch area, not respectful. Hold on. Boats on the pond are not really truly essential if anybody really wants to fish from a boat. That's the best way to go fishing is over at Hamlin Pond. And if there is no boats, there's no need for the boat launch area. This can easily be closed off and inexpensively by blocking with 1 metal post, a swing gate, chain, and 1 lock. People are more than welcome to park on Grand Avenue. We encourage it because at least it makes people who are going down that road actually travel the speed limit. Argument made that banning boats would lead to another fish kill, but it won't. There are at least 10 other bird species that feed primarily on fish that have been seen at the pond. And I've been an avid birder, so I could list them, but I won't since my time is running out. The careless disregard for the pond area goes against some of the very ordinances that the council has passed. Action needs to be initiated. Important to realize that we are not the ones who have left this stuff behind. I was just the one who's trying to not leave it behind. I can't leave it behind because the animals will die. We are just trying to implement change in hopes to better that area for all, the wildlife included. Personally, I deeply appreciate my fellow commissioners and also the Park Advisory Board for listening, understanding, and helping to bring about change for those who appreciate this spot for what it is and can be. I know how beautiful this spot can be. For 2 years after the fish kill, nobody came back to fish. There was no trash, there was no line. There was just people who truly appreciated the spot. It's
Okay, Lisa, can you wrap it up?
I am. Last paragraph.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. It's sad to think that this is all so unnecessary if they would just leave no trace, leave nothing but your footprints, and basically just simply pick up after yourself. Improperly discarded fishing gear is the only issue on the table. Realistic suggestions to help with this problem are extremely welcomed, and it seems for decades people who don't fish have had to make all the concessions. The fishing community is going to have to give in just a little bit too. If these recommendations are enacted, the situation will be monitored in hopes of lessening the negative impact that this has had on that area. If need be, the situation will need to be revisited with further recommendations being made. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak? Please come to the podium.
Hi, Madam Chair and Town Council. My name is Betsy Guardian, and I just wanted to allow you to put a face to my name, and I wanted to thank you for approving my appointment on the board tonight. I look forward to this new opportunity to represent the town and perhaps contribute. Thank you.
Great, thank you for coming tonight. Does anybody else wish to speak to the council? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Laura Meehan for Orchard Lane. Today I was very honored to volunteer at Plainville's first annual Juneteenth celebration at the Veterans Memorial Park. It was wonderful to see some of you at the event today, and thank you for being there to show your support. I think the celebration was a tremendous success. It made me really proud to be part of our community. And as you know, Juneteenth has been a federal holiday since 2021. This year, Connecticut officially adopted the holiday as well. But I was disappointed to hear that although we host now an amazing Juneteenth celebration, that Plainville employees do not have the day off to join in the celebration. So I'm asking that Plainville sign a proclamation before June 19th of 2024, making Juneteenth an official holiday for Plainville employees, and that would include Plainville Community Schools as well. Becoming an official town holiday will not merely give employees a day off, but it will also allow town employees to celebrate, participate in Plainville's Juneteenth events, and help us reflect on how far we have come as a community and how much more we still need to do to create the future that we want for all Plainville residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak that has not done so? John?
John Kislick, 65 Forestville Avenue, Poderowski Park Pond. I agree with the town manager's assessment. This is a gem, and Deb Tompkins also. Most of you must have received that ordinance that I gave to you. I mean, this ordinance was spelled out in the best detail I've ever seen of any document. It's just so thorough. It covers every pond, every park in town, and every detail. It's been updated as we go along. Things like for Norton Park, since marijuana was legalized, they added that in there, and everything you can think of. What we have here, I've been talking to you for this for a few months now, is Lisa Lozier basically wants to ban people from the use of that pond. She started first with fishing, and she actually thought she had the authority to ban fishing. She thought she did, till Robert Lee, I guess, set her straight. You're not banning fishing. And for Rosemary, there used to be ice skating on that pond because I used to skate there. The difference between ice fishing and ice skating, I believe the town probably stopped it because of the incidence of being injured ice skating, especially little kids. Ice fishermen will not be wearing skates. And it's regulated in the ordinance. It tells you can have 15 boats on that pond. You can have 25 on Hamlin's Pond. I mean, we did a study after the fish kill of what the town should do to fix this in detail. I read it the other day, and it's going to take a lot of money, but maybe someday we will be able to do it. And the boat launch area is where, if it gets done, it will be done from that area. That's the access where they can do all the dredging and whichever method we decide. And like I said before, the boat launch area is where we can have rescue and safety training for police and firemen on a pond during the winter, even in the summer. It's a beautiful access. I would like to see the boat launch expanded. It's really nice. It's a nice, quiet, secluded area that's safe. And I'm just hoping that this town council just leaves it alone. Like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's one person in this town who started this, and only one. She's a bully. She bullied her commission, and she bullied the Park and Rec into doing this. And this is the first time she come here before you with this stuff, with this fishing stuff. Some of the stuff she brings here was probably in that water for 25 years. And I don't know where she's finding this, because I walk that pond and there's not that many people fishing there, and I don't see this kind of stuff there. Plus, if the town cleans up a little bit and does some of the brush, because it is way, way overgrown, but I'm not blaming our park department. They could only do what the town lets them do. They take real good care of that pond. And there is a lot of nice fishing areas there that are clear on the Cook Street side where the houses are. It's well open, and a few other ones. But I'm asking this council, please, leave it the way it is. This is a gem for Plainville, and it should be expanded and used more, not less. We have more and more people doing activities now. You go to Norton Park any day and you see the people there. That's the other thing. She wanted to bandy hours. I talked to Dave Emery. Norton Park is open till 10 o'clock at night. The lights stay on at 10 o'clock at night for the basketball field, for the basketball players, the ball fields, and if people were playing tennis at night, they turn the lights on at night. It's just not that many people playing tennis at night anymore. I know there's not much for lights at Poderowski, but it's still a gem. It's a nice place to visit, and at dawn and dusk, it's just serene and nice. Let's save it for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak that has not done so? Marge?
Hi, thank you. My name is Marge Burris. I live at 2 Mountain View Drive in Plainville. I am also the chair for the Conservation Commission. I will say one thing, and I do agree with the town manager and Ms. Tompkins, but that's not why I'm standing up here. I'm sorry, and I understand that everyone has freedom of speech, but I take exception to the way that Mr. Kisluck is talking about one of my commission members. I'm so angry. No one has bullied the commission. However, Lisa has something that she wants to see different from whatever perspective it is, but I do not agree with someone coming out and saying that about someone who volunteers her time and has for a number of years, when we can't get people to come on our commissions because nobody wants to come out there and put themselves out in any kind of, oh gee, we got to go to a meeting, or we have to go to this or do this. No, this is a person who has worked diligently. Whether Mr. Kisluck is happy with it or not is not my problem. The fact that he is slandering the person that is there giving her time is my problem. She's a member. She is the first, I believe, person time-wise on that agenda, on that commission. I believe I'm the second. She's there all the time. She takes care of what she's supposed to do. She has a right to voice her opinions, and she has a right to present them however she wants to. I am extremely, extremely angry. I'm going to thank you for your time before I say anything else that I might not need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak that has not done so? Mr. Frangos?
Lou Frangos, 10 Fairbanks Street. Just to check on the middle school, we're talking about the middle school. We're going to be hiring an outside firm to work with both the town and the Board of Education. And but I had a little problem hearing, so bear with me. That firm is going to be reviewing, and this is what I thought I picked up, all the schools in Plainville or just the middle school?
I don't know. I think all the schools should certainly be looked at because the middle school is part of the entire school community, so it wouldn't make sense just to segregate the middle school. So I would suspect all of the schools are going to be looked at.
I'm sorry.
Eventually, the elementary children will be there if they
that's
stay
what I
in
said,
town
but-
anyway, so you'd have to do them all.
Well, that's what I thought with my hearing there. It sounded like we weren't just concentrating on middle school. It sounds like we're going further than that. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding that.
Yep.
So we are definitely going further than that. Okay, so that could involve a multitude of things, consolidations, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, second and final, these meetings, will they be presented at town council meetings, findings, as they progress? Or is this, am I making sense of what I'm asking?
Say that again, please. Just say it again for me.
Will there be updates?
Sure.
At
I mean,
town
any
council
meeting that the
meetings
council
regarding
and the board has
decisions that are being made in this.
would be a public meeting, so yeah, it would be public information, yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yep. All done? Okay, we have somebody up here that would like to speak with us.
Nolan Meehan, 4 Orchard Lane. I would like to ask Plainville to make June 19th an official Plainville holiday. Today at the Juneteenth celebration, MSP students and No Place for Hate and the PHS students from the Social Justice Club had a table with face painting and rock decorating for the kids of the town. I was able to volunteer to set up the event with my mom and sister. We were lucky this year that we did not have too many snow days, and we got out of school last Wednesday. If we had 3 more snow days this year, the students in Plainville would not have been able to attend the Juneteenth event and learn so much about our American history. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for stepping up. Does anybody else wish to speak to the council that has not done so? Anybody else? Thank you all for your comments. I will close the public comments section. And we're moving on to our new business items. We do not have any old business, so may I have a motion for item number 1, please?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
motion to adopt an ordinance entitled Ordinance Establishing Fourth Quarter Transfers for Fiscal Year Ending June 30th, 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Madam
Number 2.
Chair,
Yep, go ahead.
motion to approve the tax fixing agreement for Americold Real Estate LP capping total taxes at $850,000 for a period of 10 years unless AmeriCorps secures additional personal property or completes additional expansion of the building from the original design.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, please.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
motion to award bid number 2024-03 Building and Grounds Vehicle to Gengris Ford, Plainville, Connecticut, under state contract number 19, PSX 0161 in the amount of $45,961.10.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, please.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
motion number 4, motion to award bid number 2024-04 pavement marking to Safety Markings LLC, Bridgeport, Connecticut, under CRCOG bid number 743 in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, please.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
Motion to ratify the police union tentative agreement for the term July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underwood.
this is an additional motion, and if you want it revised in any way, let me know. Motion to authorize the town manager to go forward with a study of enrollment projections using the firm of Mike Zuma of SLAM.
Good enough?
Second.
I don't think you should characterize it as just enrollment projections. I think the study is supposed to be a little more comprehensive than just that.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah, you
accurate?
just refer to the SLAM proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's.
Okay.
Okay.
So
What
we'll
do you-
take those. Can you repeat the motion again, just so we know exactly what we're going to have?
What does he
here?
want me to add to this? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
No, just take away.
Just take away the name Mike Zumba and.
Just the enrollment projections.
No, just,
No,
just the,
just the study.
to engage in the proposal as submitted by SLAM.
Motion to authorize the town manager to go forward with a study using the firm of Mike Zuma of SLAM.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair?
I'm sorry,
That's
Mr.
all right.
Wazorko.
Just a quick question. We talked about the Board of Education at their June 5th meeting approved moving forward with the study.
No.
Did I hear that accurately?
Mhm.
I'd have to defer just.
Okay. I want to
Yeah.
just make sure I heard it correctly before. Okay.
Any further comments or questions?
Madam Chair?
Rosemary.
I will vote, in favor for 3 real reasons. The one that hearing that the board does approve the, in concept anyhow, of doing this. Second reason is that we would be due for an enrollment study, an up-to-date enrollment study anyhow, if we go to renovate as new. And thirdly, if this is going to just start moving the process to make some decisions on the middle school, and for those reasons, I'll support it. But I do have to voice my concern once again. I still feel this is something the Board of Education should be driving. I certainly hope that they're at least, I know they're going to be partnering on it, and I just feel they really should be taking the lead. And certainly when we get into issues with utilizations, which will affect programs and curriculum, that is really, really not the realm of the town council. It's really the realm of the Board of Education. And I just think we have to be mindful of that as we enter this process.
Well said. Anybody else wish to make a comment? All right. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, please.
Madam Chair, motion to approve the tax refunds as listed on the addendum.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any other items of discussion of interest, Michael?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have 2 items. Reminder that the tour for AmeriCold is on for Wednesday at 6, and hoping that all members all that can make it, and I think it's going to be an exciting tour. That's at 6 o'clock this Wednesday, the 21st. And also, reminder, in terms of the charter revision process, we had talked about if you look at the list, the graphic that Andy put together in terms of the timeline for Green, that we would have a special meeting for the 26th, now that we've had the public hearing tonight, to consider those, to consider the draft report. So just want to remind members about that.
26th, okay.
Special meeting. So we'll have reminders going out tomorrow, and hope that we can get a quorum for that meeting on the 26th.
Do you need to let you know right now, or I just have to look at my calendar? I'm sure I'll be here, but.
Yeah.
Everybody all right for the 26th? Do you need to let the town manager know?
I won't be in town, but
You will
I
not.
can
Okay.
Zoom in, or
Sure.
I certainly would participate.
Okay, great.
I won't physically be in Plainville.
We'll make a Zoom option, yeah.
Everybody else good for that date?
Works for me.
Okay, all right,
Okay, great. Thank
All
you.
right.
That's all I have.
great. Anything else?
No.
Anybody else have anything that they'd like to add or talk about? Okay, then, in that case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We are adjourned. Thank you.